All right, what's going on, guys? Today is the last day of February.
February 28th.
February 28th,
not the 29th.
Not
It's
the
not a leap year.
29th. Yo, guess what happened on this day 7 years ago? It was reported that the Phillies had agreed to a contract with Bryce Harper.
For
13 years, 330 million.
Yeah, 330. I thought it was 336.
30 million for 13 years for Bryce. And the Phillies have never looked back. So that's your fun fact of the show.
And honestly, if he doesn't do that, who knows what state that the Phillies are in right now.
Who knows, honestly, yeah.
Phillies could be a completely different team right now. Phillies could be really, really bad still, honestly. If Bryce doesn't come here, who knows if Schwarber comes here? Who knows if, Castellanos comes here?
That World Series probably doesn't happen without Bryce Harper hitting that home run, sending them to the World Series.
So, him coming here basically changed the fortunes of this entire franchise for the Phillies. And
well, we can't thank Bryce enough.
now this team is no longer viewed from the negative lens that it was viewed from before by free agents coming in. It's viewed as who doesn't want to come play here in front of this fan base, in front of these crowds. So the fact that he has really, opened up, I feel like, the national scene to Philadelphia really just helps the team overall going forward and has already helped them in the past couple of seasons.
Absolutely, yeah. But besides that, I'm Andrew, and across from me is Tyler.
What's going on, everyone?
Continuing about Bryce Harper, I mean, so far spring has looked pretty good for someone that's going to be leaving the Phillies in a couple of days to go for the World Baseball Classic, and
They leave, tomorrow? Or,
or
I think
one of
2
the-
days from now, something like that?
But he's had a pretty good spring so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's only had a couple at-bats, but he's
been getting
delivered
hits,
in
doubles,
the couple at-bats that he's got.
RBI.
So,
He's got a couple RBIs. He's got a couple
two
of hits.
ribbies. I think he's got a double already.
He hasn't been chasing the breaking balls, which is nice.
Yeah. And there have been a couple of guys that are definitely showing that their timing and everything is not all there yet. I mean,
we are still in the beginning of spring.
Dylan Morris struck out 6 times so far.
Yeah.
That
makes you a little bit happy.
I was joking with you when I texted you earlier saying that, he's already struck out 8 times. So that was just me, being disingenuous and being an asshole towards Dylan Moore. But then I looked it up and he actually has 6
That's
already.
ridiculous.
So he has 6. So honestly, I was pretty spot on.
His cleanup hitter, Alec Boehm,
Alec's been having a pretty good
looks good.
spring.
Bryson Stott looks pretty good too.
Yep.
He's had a home run. He's got a couple of doubles, a couple of RBIs. So that's really nice to see out of him.
Otto Kemp has been striking out, so that's not really
That's
that
not
good
really
to see. But
the greatest thing. He had a home run though in the one game
He
against
did.
Detroit.
And it was a fucking bomb too.
Yeah.
That thing went well over 400 feet.
So right now they are, as we're speaking, they're playing against the Blue Jays in Dunedin, and Justin Crawford took a walk to start the game.
Hey, there we go.
There we go. So now here's Schwarber against Dylan Cease. But
what have you taken from Justin Crawford so far in the spring? He's been solid.
I mean, he's been solid. I mean, it hasn't been. I don't think I've seen him in enough games yet. Mm-hmm. I mean, I haven't really been able to watch a lot of the games, but in the games I have been,
3 of them have been televised, I think.
There's only a couple of them on television. So, and I haven't really gotten to see Crawford that much yet, but I have all for this next week, so I'm gonna be able to get into see how much games are going to be on television. See,
and it's definitely
if Crawford's going to be in the lineup. He should be getting more playing time now because most of the regulars are going to be leaving for their countries.
And you got to expect what was the number that we said last week? 17 players that are going to be leaving?
Yeah, it was 14 or something.
So
there's a bunch of players that are leaving.
And that means there's going to be a bunch of opportunities for us to see some of those young guys that we highlighted, I think 2 or 3 weeks
Keaton
ago
Anthony and Otto Kemp,
honestly,
Crawford.
Keaton Anthony hasn't looked that great. He doesn't have a hit yet. The 3 games that he's played in, I think he's had.
Well, at least we get to see Crawford and Otto Kemp and Who am I thinking of? Brian Rincone's been looking pretty good.
He has. We highlighted him a couple of weeks ago. He's had a pretty good spring. Dylan Campbell had a home run a couple days ago.
Painter's going to be starting against the Yankees on Sunday.
Yep, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, that game's going to be on television too.
And JT and the rest of the pitching staff has already said how much confidence that they have in Andrew Painter. So
I'm assuming JT will be playing tomorrow. JT's going to be,
I would assume,
not going to play for the USA.
No, he's not playing.
So I'm sure JT will get the bulk of the catching against most of the pitching prospects they currently have, or at least the ones who aren't leaving.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have Nola leaving. You got... Who else is leaving?
You're going to have Luzardo leaving. Christopher Sanchez
leaving.
Obviously,
Alvarado's leaving.
No, he's not leaving anymore.
Oh, he's not?
Because of the insurance crap.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
So he's no longer on Team Venezuela?
No, the insurance cost him.
Yeah. Dude, that's insane.
That's terrible.
He's not competing on the WBC?
No, because of the insurance policy that they have.
Oh my goodness, that's insane.
But
okay.
You're not going to see Zach Wheeler pitch, but he was thrown from the pitching mound, and he said he looks good, and there was a chance that he could come back as early as like the end of April, the middle of the end of April.
Yeah, I keep hearing from people, on the radio and other people that beginning of April is when they're thinking realistically he could have a shot to come back. He might
April, May.
Right. He might maybe have... I mean, there are some people that are saying that he's not going to have any type of rehab starts and he's just going to go right through.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to have to be getting at least a couple of starts maybe in Clearwater and at least one start in Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, I think
there's no way you're just going to be able to...
Like, if he hasn't pitched a live game in, 7 months now.
Yeah, he hasn't pitched a live game since August, and you're just going to try him out there against the Dodgers.
Right, so they're but it's going to be up to Zach, because if Zach Wheeler denies it, he doesn't want to the rehab
I believe he did come out and say, he was feeling good.
Yeah, so, I mean, hey, if he's feeling like he doesn't need it, then that's even better, but, that's all going to be up to Zach Wheeler, whether or not he feels he needs the rehab start. I assume that the Phillies will suggest it, just because
the Phillies are going to have
to pitched in 7 months.
The Phillies are going to have to suggest it,
but he does have the option to decline it.
He gets banged around in his first start, and now you're like, we should have maybe used him for a minor league start here and there.
Well,
but stuck giving up 7 runs in 3 innings.
I believe once you have a certain amount of service time, you can deny, being sent to the minors for any reason. So,
and this is his 14th season.
Right. So I don't know if he's going to...
He's got a lot of time.
I don't know if he's going to want to go down to single A and,
exactly,
compete with a bunch of guys that are 21 and 20 and 19.
99-mile-an-hour fastballs by them and just 1, 2, 3 strike out the side.
I don't know if that's what he's going to be really wanting to do, but it's definitely going to be nice to... The fact that we're hearing he's feeling good, he's throwing, he's done the long toss already, and things are looking more and more like he's going to actually be missing, 2, 3 scheduled starts? That's it? Probably?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to...
that's crazy.
I think that's why the Phillies were, not really looking for that guy that can get you just a couple innings, that 4 to 5 starter.
Yeah, that we said.
I guess they're just...
they might be, but...
But I guess you're just going to trust Taiwan to hold down the fort.
I mean, he pitched well enough last season, and we have...
he pitched okay last season. I mean, a 4 ERA from Walker, and we're happy.
We've stated this before. He's fine up until he gets to that 160 pitch innings, and then he just falls off a cliff. And once he got to that amount last year, he once again fell off a cliff. So if all you need out of Taiwan Walker this year is 150 innings, he'll be a good enough pitcher for you. If you need him to throw 180, that's where it gets dicey.
I don't think Walker's going to be throwing 150 innings in just April alone.
No.
This isn't like the 1920s.
So I think that Walker will be able to do at least a solid job filling in for whenever Wheeler comes back, especially if it's only going to be 3 or 4 starts. We have seen Taiwan Walker have successful stretches of short amount of games.
Christopher Sanchez, Luzardo,
right,
Walker, and I guess Painter.
I'm hoping Painter.
Yeah, we're hoping for now, but as we said, there's no really glorified There's really no glorified decision on whether or not he's going to be starting in the big league club. So what if someone gets injured in the World Baseball Classic?
Exactly.
Or the spring training, because we saw it with Painter, and then we saw, Edwin Diaz, even though he wasn't on the Phillies, but he got injured celebrating out for the entire season.
Jumping up and down
out for the entire season.
Yep.
So, anything can happen.
I mean, there are freak injuries that happen.
There are freak injuries, yeah.
Remember Howie Kendrick, when he was with the Phillies, he hit a walk-off home run, came around, jumped on home plate, tore his Achilles. Was out for the rest of the year.
It's a freak injury, yep.
Plenty of stuff can happen. And if there's a door that's open for Andrew Painter to start the season with the team, I think that the Phillies would give that to him,
Yeah, I think so, too.
Yeah. And anyone else that you think has a realistic shot? Like, do you think Aiden Miller has any chance to break with the team, or do you think he's probably going?
Right now he has a setback right now.
Okay,
so he hasn't played in any spring games due to a lingering injury.
Is he going to play in the spring? Do we know
that? I do not know.
Okay,
but right now he just has lower back soreness. So they're just being really cautious, obviously.
If that's the case, he's
same
most
with
likely
Gabriel
not going to
Rincones, who has knee soreness. We haven't seen him play either.
Right. And there was someone else that I feel like... Oh, De La Cruz actually hasn't had too bad of a spring as well. He had a home run not a couple of games ago, but, he's going to have to continue that the entire spring.
And we haven't seen Kirk Ring, too, because he's got some hamstring tightness.
Yeah. But... basically, everyone else we have seen, I feel like. Sanchez, we've seen.
Sanchez is pitching at the moment.
Luzardo, we've seen.
Nola.
We've seen Nola. We'll
see Painter tomorrow. We saw Walker.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen most of the starters play already.
Trying to see. Is there any relievers that we haven't really seen other than
Kirk Ring, Duran?
Oh, yeah, Duran. He hasn't pitched yet.
I think that's about it for the main batch of relievers. We saw Alvarado.
Yeah, he pitched twice, right?
Yeah, the new guy,
Keller's pitched,
yeah,
right?
Keller's pitched an inning. The guy from the Matt Strahm trade has pitched.
Okay, so basically we've seen at least
90%
a couple
of
innings.
I was going to say, we've seen about 90% of the team so far.
Okay, and still there's going to be a lot more people that still you're going to get a lot of run with these 2 weeks coming up, since there's not going to be, Harper or Schwarber or Nola or Walker.
Yeah, for the next 2 weeks, yep.
So
we'll see when, and that, honestly, the World Baseball Classic performance will depict, honestly, how well they do during the season.
It's not always indicative.
It's not always that. We saw that with Trey Turner, obviously,
right, but usually it does give a pretty good indication.
It's a good showing, yeah.
Yeah, but you want to head to the owners?
Yeah, we could talk about the salary cap.
So the owners have actually given us some hard numbers for what the proposed cap and floor would be. It looks like
29 out of 30 owners have agreed to implement the salary cap. We don't know who that last owner is. It could be the Mets, Dodgers, Phillies, Yankees. It's one of those teams that are obviously
towards the top of the spending, you would think.
But
unless it's, maybe it's the Athletics, because they're notoriously cheap and don't want to spend $140 million per season.
Hey, but you could see maybe 29 versus 1. You're obviously going to win.
Oh, yeah. But the numbers that have been proposed for the cap would be in between 260 to 280 million. And just for reference out there, the NFL cap is 301 million. So that's going to be pretty significant decrease for a couple of teams to go from whatever payroll they're at down to 280.
Say if the cap is 280 million, the Phillies are going to be way over the cap.
They're actually only a couple.
They're going to be about. I checked the payroll. They're about like $300 million, so they're $20 million over. But the Dodgers, Mets, and Yankees, as well as the Phillies, are going to be well over the salary cap.
I think the Yankees are like 40-something million over.
So let's say if the salary,
I think the Mets are like 80-something.
So let's say if the salary cap was today, and it was $280 million, and the Phillies are at $300 million. That's basically taking Nick Castellanos' contract.
Well, Taijuan Walker's contract. Which you're going to lose at the end of the season.
You're going to lose one of those. You're going to lose both of them. So it's basically taking Nick Castellanos and Walker's contract, and it's like, all right, now we have to get rid of these two guys so we can stay afloat of the cap.
Well, luckily, if this were to be implemented, they would be under the cap.
They would be under
season.
the cap, yeah. And they're going to be getting a lot of money off the hooks this offseason because Alec Boehm's a free agent, Luzardo's a free agent.
We just said
Garcia's
Walker's
a free
coming
agent.
off the books.
You have Walker and Castellanos coming off the hooks.
And I think Walker's on the book for what, like 18 or like 20 million or something like that.
So I think the Phillies are going to be gaining about $70 million, $70 to $80 million.
Close to it. Because I know Boehm is
money.
What, 10 million?
Boehm is 10 million, Garcia's 10 million, Castellanos is 20 million, Walker is 18 million. I think Luzardo's
Luzardo's 9, I think,
9
right?
or 12 million. Sosa's
like
7 million. Alvarado's 9 million.
And then, I mean, you will have some pay jumps from arbitration through Bryson Stott.
Yeah.
But
let's just say if they don't re-sign any of those guys, but they should probably go out and offer Luzardo a contract. If they don't re-sign any of those guys, you're going to be with a lot of money to possibly make a good amount of signings this offseason.
Yeah.
Finally not have that title of running it back.
You won't be, hamstrung by any of those bad contracts that you signed a couple of years ago. You're still going to be hamstrung a little bit by the fact that, you still got Nola's disastrous contract.
Yeah, but that's going to be... That.
If Nola has a good year this year, then who knows? Maybe it might not be a disaster anymore. But the thing that I really want to highlight with this floor and the cap. So the floor would be proposed at in between 140 to 160 million, right? So let's just use the generous numbers on both ends of the spectrum. And let's say that the floor would be 140 million and that the cap would be 280. 16 out of the 30 teams in this league, so that's over 50%, would be out of that 140 to 280 million dollar range. So you would have the Marlins, the Athletics, the Rays, the White Sox, the Pirates, the Guardians, the Nationals, the Brewers, the Reds, the Rockies, and the Royals. That is 12 teams that would all be under the salary floor.
So this is the Dodgers payroll with the luxury tax. Currently, $381 million. If we had a $280 million salary cap, they'd be $100 million over.
Yeah.
So that
compare
behind
that
them
to,
is the Phillies are $311 million.
And then you compare that to the Miami Marlins, and their payroll is $67.5 million.
With the $78 million tax threshold.
That would be almost $100 million under the threshold of the salary floor. And the real reason why you need to implement this cap and this floor isn't really because of the Dodgers. It's because of all of those 12 teams that I just mentioned.
A lot of people like to blame the Dodgers, which is, all right, yeah, they do get the good players, but you also have to remember some of the cheap teams aren't able to get any of the good players.
So, some of the cheap teams also just refuse to spend money in general.
Like the Oakland Athletics.
They refuse to spend money that they do indeed have.
Like Oakland had passionate fans.
Yes.
But then the owner was like, we're going to move to Las Vegas, we're not going to spend money, and that's what caused them to have a stadium that has more spiders than fans.
Well, they said that, the Athletics, they said that they were trying to get this, new stadium for what, like frickin' 20-something years?
Forever, yeah.
And them in the city can never come to
But you're going
agreement.
to ruin the relationship you have with all the passionate fans so you can move somewhere else?
Well, I was going to say, the reason why that they had this agreement, this disagreement
it's going to make them
the
more
city
money.
And the owner was because the owner wanted the city to put up more taxpayer money. And the city was like, no, hell no, we're not going to do that. You are a person that is,
a billionaire?
Right. You own this amount of money. Your net worth is X amount. You should be putting forth some of your own money if you would like a new stadium for your team. And basically the owner of the Athletics was like, well, I don't want to put forth that much money. I want you guys to put forth like 70% taxpayer money and I'll back the 30%. And Oakland said no, and Las Vegas said yes. So he's moving the team to Vegas.
Las Vegas has a lot more money than Oakland.
And it's all about fucking owners being stingy.
Yeah.
And those 12 teams right there at the bottom are all notorious for not paying their players, trading their players away before they get the opportunity to pay them.
So it's owners being cheap.
Yeah. Like, are we really going to sit here and say that the Chicago White Sox in Chicago, the third largest city in America, doesn't have enough money to compete spending-wise with the rest of the... Yes, they do. Of course they do.
Yeah,
they're in Chicago.
Their owner's not good.
It's the fact that they don't want to put out that type of money. You know, Miami, I know Miami always has been one of these teams that's been towards the bottom, but you think that the city or the area of Miami doesn't bring in money that they can spend? Of course they do. It's freaking Miami.
Yeah, Miami is it's a big sports town too.
Like going to a Heat game is like a destination type. It's like an event type of thing, you know, when you go to a Heat game or something like that.
Miami has hosted some of the greatest players. I mean, LeBron.
So, I mean, don't tell me that Miami doesn't have this money to spend. Don't tell me they don't have $140 million to make a competitive team. You know, like same with Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City has a lot of money.
Kansas City, when they were winning, you know, in 2016, and they went back in, I think, 2018 or whatever it was, or 2014 and 2016, their payroll was well over 180, like $200 million. And you're telling me that the Royals can't afford to fork up another $50 million because their payroll right now is at 104? Like, it's certain things like that where it's like, all right, you guys are not even putting forth enough money to even be competitive, even if the Dodgers weren't spending $413 million. Like, even if the Dodgers were only spending $280 million and the Marlins still trotted out their 67.5, that's still an embarrassment to everyone that's freaking in.
Yeah.
Every other team in the rest of the league.
You know, the Dodgers would be not one penny over the cap, but they'd be having the most spent.
Yeah. And if you're at least going to hold teams to, hey, you got to spend this amount, even though you can actually spend 5 times more than that, then you need to make every other team spend a reasonably same amount of money. You know, you can't have a salary cap. You need to have that
floor at like 100 to 60 million.
You can't cap the Dodgers at 280 million and let the frickin' Miami Marlins continue to trot out $70 million payrolls. Mm-hmm. You know, so
I still think they're going to need a floor to have more, to have teams like the Marlins and the Pirates and the White Sox go out there and spend at least like $150 million on some contracts. Or if the Marlins want to be cheap, or the Athletics want to be cheap and hand out $150 million to the first baseman Kurt. So it's like, well, now we're over the floor. We gave our first baseman a contract. We're not going to sign any more players.
Well, the thing is if they force you to spend the money, then you might as well at least spend it effectively.
You have to spend it effectively. There has to be
the NFL does really, really well.
There has to be a rule where you spend it effectively, or else you'll face like immense penalty.
You know, that's why I really like the NFL's rule, and that's why I put the NFL's rule in here as a comparison to the floor, where maybe instead of doing a floor, you have that type of, you know, you got to spend 90% of your team's revenue on your actual roster budget. And if you don't spend 90% of your team revenue over the past 3 seasons, then you get penalized by losing a draft pick or losing something like that. And that's going to incentivize teams to, oh shit, we can't afford to lose draft picks.
That's what baseball has to do.
Right.
But the thing is, there's so much there's so much draft rounds.
Yeah, but if you lose a first round pick, that's pretty substantial no matter how many rounds there are. You have to make it a meaningful draft pick that you lose, not like some 3rd round or 4th round pick.
Or you lose out on a chance at the Rule 5 draft. Or the international signing bonus.
Right, I was about to say your signing pool for international signing bonus gets reduced by like 50%.
Yep.
Or something like that. There has to be something that would check these teams to make sure that, hey, even though there is a cap that we can't go over, we still at least need to spend enough money to be a competitive team.
I feel like that's what makes the NFL so competitive from other teams every single year.
That's why you see a lot of teams that flip-flop in between, being good for a couple of seasons and then they rebuild for about 2 or 3. There's no 10-year rebuilds in the NFL.
No, unless you're like the Jets.
Well, the Jets just are horrible every year.
Yeah.
But there's no 10-year rebuild.
But like the Eagles,
the Phillies, they went through what, like a 10-year rebuild in order to field a competitive team again.
But the Eagles, they went to the playoffs the year that Carson Wentz got injured by Jadeveon Clowney.
Yep.
The next season they had 4 wins. The season after that, they were back in the playoffs.
Yeah, like the way that the NFL breaks up how you have to spend money, like you literally have to spend the money. If you don't spend the money, you are going to get fined as the owner.
Or you lose a draft pick.
Right. And then there's other penalties.
Yeah.
And if you face those same penalties again, then if you have another infringement, the penalties obviously get stiffer.
They're going to get worse and worse.
So MLB needs to do something that is of a similar type of mindset. I don't think that doing the $140 million is necessarily the correct answer with the floor, although it's definitely a good starting point. And the floor really, I feel like, is what the players have been trying to highlight with what they've been saying, with the fact that, I'm not going to blame the Dodgers when there's literally 12 other teams that are out there that are only spending $100 million to not even be competitive. How can I sit here and blame the Dodgers as a player when they're one of the only teams that's actually putting forth the money to make a competitive
they put forth
roster.
the money, the Marlins don't.
Right. So, and that's been the players' point of view this entire time. So if you're able to convince the players that this is good and fills that objective for them.
Because you have players like Kyle Tucker saying, baseball's in a good sport. I'm not bothered by the contract.
Right.
Obviously you're not bothered.
Wait, how could you be bothered when you're making freaking $60 million?
Yeah. You're swimming in a pool of money, Scrooge McDuck.
You got the freaking Brinks truck backing up, dumping all the money in your fucking driveway, and then going out and making another run and coming back in a couple hours to drop off more. That's what's happening with you, dude. So, of course, you're not worried. But that's just I really hope that they're actually able to do something to implement this, because it's going to make a more competitive and a more fun league. And not only that, the season itself, the regular season, will be more fun. Yeah,
we don't want to see the same few teams in the postseason every single year. Obviously, It's nice to have your favorite team in the postseason, but for the general public, it's good to see teams coming in and out of the playoff pool every single year.
And not only is it good for the sport to have a whole bunch of different teams that are going in and out every single year, it's good for the fans, because as anyone knows, the same thing over and over just gets stale.
More fans, if a team like the Marlins starts going on a run and makes the playoffs, you get more fans coming to the stadium.
Not only that,
which makes more revenue.
You know how many people love to root for that underdog team? And then
everyone does.
They'll take that passion, that fandom for rooting for the underdog with them potentially for the rest of their life. So you could just make literally a shit ton of fans for the rest of your life by having one good season.
And make more money.
By having one good season. That's all you need.
Yeah.
And these owners are just so hell-bent on saving money however they can and not spending any money if they don't have to, that they're willing to just let the teams that they own be mockery.
It's like extreme cheapskates that are at Major League Baseball headquarters.
Yeah,
we're doing our best to save as much money as we can, even though we're 100 trillionaires.
I think what should happen if there's a team that goes under 50 wins, they get demoted to the Banana Ball League. and the Savannah Bananas will be promoted to the MLB.
You got a guy doing a backflip as he's pitching to Shohei Ohtani.
At least it would be more entertaining than watching the fucking Rockies. Dude, come on, let's be real.
Put the Savannah Bananas in Coors Field. They might actually hit some home runs.
Let's be realistic here. Come on.
Oh, that was good.
If we wouldn't replace an actual team with the Savannah Bananas, we would replace a joke.
1-0 Phillies.
But you got anything else on the Phillies or baseball?
Yeah,
or
Brian De La Cruz home run off of Dylan Cease.
That's his second homer of the
home run off of Dylan Cease. 1-0 Phillies.
And that's what, I think 5 hits for De La Cruz?
Yeah,
now?
That's his first home run of the spring.
Oh, I thought he already hit one.
No, that's his first home run.
Okay, so today was his first home run.
Yeah, second hit, home run. I'll take it.
So, anything else we want to mention before we move on to
move on.
76ers?
Yeah.
Or do you want to cover the A.J. Brown thing first?
We can do the 76ers.
So, 76ers won. They beat Miami on Thursday night. I think it was 127 to 119 or something like that. And Tyrese Maxey broke Allen Iverson's
record. Yep.
And he only did it in, 3 seasons?
He did it in more seasons than that. Yeah, I think this is his 6th season.
Okay, this is 6th season.
So it took him 6 seasons to break the record.
And I think AI had to complete 12? How many years did he have here?
I don't know. It was longer. Tyrese Maxey definitely.
Oh yeah, way shorter.
Way shorter, yeah.
And it just definitely shows how much the game has changed since AI was in the league to now. I think AI when he was playing, he was shooting maybe 3 or 4 threes a game probably.
Maxey's shooting that almost near 10.
Yeah, Maxey will shoot 10 to 12.
But he's a good 3-point shooter, so.
And the fact that he is on pace to hit 1,000 threes.
He'll definitely get 1,000 threes.
By the end of his 27-year-old season is kind of crazy.
That is crazy, though.
He's not even going to be 27 years old, and he's probably going to break 1,000 threes made in his career already. And for that to happen to a guy that was the 21st pick in the draft that fell down everyone's boards because people said his perimeter shooting wasn't good enough is absolutely
got
insane.
A freaking steal. Tyrese Maxey in the 2020 draft, if they had to redo it, he'd be
the number 1 pick, probably.
He'd be the number 1 or 2 or 3 pick because Anthony Edwards was number 1.
And Anthony Edwards may still very well be number
Tyrese
1.
Maxey would at least be the number 2 or number 3 pick.
Yeah. I mean, Tyrese Maxey has played well enough where he's going to probably be an All-NBA first team or at least All-NBA second team.
He'll definitely be in the All-NBA team. There's no doubt whether or not.
And if this 76ers team was a second or a third seed, he would probably get MVP votes. He's probably not going to get any MVP votes just because the Sixers aren't going to finish high enough. But if the Sixers were a top 3 team, he might be a top 3 or 4 MVP candidate.
He should be.
For that to come from a guy who everyone, when draft process was coming around, saying, oh yeah, this guy's not going to be able to shoot the 3 ball enough effectively to stay in this league. Well, he's proved everyone wrong.
Big slap you in the face to everybody.
And that goes to show just how hard he has worked, how much he's worked, the fact that he has had the balls to call out other members on the team shows how much of a leader he's become since he's gotten here. And he has really just been fantastic for this franchise. And if there was no Tyrese Maxey here right now,
the team would be a whole lot different.
There might not be any Joel here right now either.
Yeah. No PG, no Joel, no.
Right.
We might be sitting here with
process again now if there's no Tyrese Maxey. If they don't pick him with the 21st pick in that draft, this whole team may have been blown up 3 years ago.
Who knows?
And Paul George never would have came here, and Joel Embiid never would have gotten that contract extension. He'd be in some other city right now, and the Sixers would probably have about 20 wins, kind of like the Jazz.
Probably, yeah. And benching their starters in the fourth quarter intentionally. At least Joel, it looks like what you were saying, the shin splints. It doesn't look like it's shin splints because he's out there playing still.
Yeah, the fact
which is
that
good.
He actually played. So happy that he played and he dominated. So that
I guess it could
puts
just be
my
some,
fear to rest.
I guess it could just be some soreness that the Sixers are like, we just can't. We don't want to risk it.
Let's either got to be that or just random swelling, or because that's what I feel like he's always had this random swelling
or soreness that they're just going to say, we don't want to risk this.
So
if it was the playoffs and the shin was happening, he'd probably play. But
right, and when Tyrese Maxey spoke yesterday at some. He was speaking to some reporter. It was at this like New Balance photo shoot or whatever.
Yeah, because he is a sponsor with New Balance.
And they asked him, like, how important is your season compared to the health of the team? And Tyrese Maxey was like, basically the only thing that we're trying to accomplish is to have the entire team be healthy going into the playoffs, which is something that we've never had before. He's like, if this entire team can be healthy when we make the playoffs, it doesn't matter what seed that we are. We're going to make noise no matter who we play because we'll actually be healthy.
So I think if the Sixers do have a playoff spot with a couple games left in the season, they're just going to end up resting their guys.
Yeah.
Unless they're actively like...
So they're already 2.5 games
If they
up.
don't have a top 6 locked in... They'll play their guys if they have a top 6.
They're going to have to.
They're going to have to, yeah.
Because you can't go into the play-in with the way that Joel's health has been throughout postseasons prior. You're not going to be able to go into the play-in and also make a deep run because those play-in games are extremely physical. They're usually bodies flying all over the place, people diving for balls, and you see a decent amount of injuries that happen in those play-in games.
So yeah, you're gonna need.
You definitely don't want Joel.
You don't want them
to
be in the play-in for sure.
Like if you can avoid that play-in game, especially with the amount of minutes that we were talking about, Maxey has played all season. He's gonna need that extra week of rest where the play-in tournament's going on. So if you can get that 6th seed, which they're 2.5 games up on, I think Charlotte right now for that, or no, the Magic. The Magic they're 2.5 games up on the Magic. But if they're able to increase that lead or just hold it, especially when Paul George comes back, then I feel like this is definitely going to be a season where the Sixers could, dare I say, make it past the first round.
I don't know, first or second round. It all depends on who they play.
I think that they match up pretty well with basically everyone except for the Knicks, as long as they are healthy.
Detroit, because Detroit is really good.
Yeah, but as long as they are healthy, I expect them to at least win a first round and potentially a second round in the playoffs, which would be the first time in the entire Joel Embiid era, which who wouldn't sign up for that,
That's
right?
That's a freaking accomplishment on its own.
That would finally be like, the curse has been broken.
Yeah.
It would finally give some hope back to this fan base again. Even if they were to get swept out in the next round. If they were to get swept out in
That's a
conference finals.
Damn accomplishment, finally.
This city would just be over the moon by the fact they made it to the conference finals. So, as long as they're able to stay healthy, as Tyrese Maxey has said, and that's probably going to be their priority more for these last 20 games. Instead of winning, it's going to be just staying healthy. And as long as they're in that 6th spot, I think that they're probably in a pretty decent shape to beat whoever they go against.
Okay.
And also, I just want to say, remember when Doc Rivers said that Maxey should be sent down to the G League to get more playing time for developmental purposes? What a joke.
Yeah. What a joke by a joke of a coach. Not like Nick Nurse is any better, but damn.
What a fucking joke, Doc Rivers, dude. We all know that you don't like to play young players, but dude, you said he needed to go down to the G League to get more development? Or
he looks stupid. He look real stupid now. He look real stupid now.
Fucking smoking crack, Doc Rivers.
All right. On to the last topic.
The A.J.
Which is
Brown.
AJ. Shouldn't be that long. So Jeff McLean, who works for the Philadelphia Inquirer, said that the A.J. Brown decision could be 50-50 from the Eagles. It looks like next week they would most likely have a decision, and that's since the combine's over, whether or not that A.J. will stay an Eagle or he'll be traded. Now, we don't know yet what the decision could be, but he also did say if the Eagles were to exercise calls for him or allow him to explore trade, that the cost of it would be expensive in the form of draft capital.
Yes.
So AJ's not going to be cheap. He's going to be at least
a first rounder.
A first rounder, yeah. If
or a substantial player in return.
Substantial player and a pick in return.
It depends who the players. Like if it's Max Crosby,
they're going to want at least a third round pick. A third round pick.
But not a second or a first.
No.
You know? So it all depends on what the trade is, but it's looking more and more like he's going to get traded. There's a lot of stuff coming out of Indianapolis, people saying that
but that's
Louis
what
Riddick said it's probably just not better for both parties.
What if it's just Howie's decision where it's like, we want to keep AJ, and AJ's like, well, I'm not going to be playing with y'all.
That's what I was going to say.
There's always the possibility that AJ could be like, I'm holding out.
Yeah, or he could just kind of do what happened on some plays last season where he just stops running halfway through his route. He looks completely disinterested in the actual game that's going on. He's just kind of going through the motions a little bit. And if that's the case, then you don't need him here.
I mean, if you're a Raiders fan, would you trade Max Crosby to give Fernando Mendoza AJ Brown?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's not like your team's going to be any good at this year anyway.
Both of them are on pretty similar contracts. So it wouldn't be that much of a cap hit for the Eagles if they were to take on Crosby's contract.
And plus, Crosby is not on the offensive side.
Nope.
And
that would just make the defense even better.
You want to pair, Fernando Mendoza with another. He's got Ashton Gentry. Even though that was probably a really bad pick by the Raiders last year, drafting him as high as they did.
Yeah.
But what did they draft him? 5th overall?
6th overall,
yeah. 6th overall, something like that?
But for the Eagles,
that's crazy.
I feel like for the Eagles, if they were to trade AJ for Crosby or a first-round pick of some sort, you're going to have to be exploring options now for a wide receiver in the draft.
Definitely in the draft, or in the free agent market.
It's
not going to be someone that's of the same caliber, obviously, as A.J. Brown, but I don't really know with the volume that the Eagles have.
What, are you going to bring in
A.J. Brown.
What, are you going to bring in Mike Evans as a free agent?
Apparently, there's reports saying that the Patriots are very interested in Mike Evans.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then you can probably take the Patriots off the board for A.J. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be the teams that would realistically need A.J. Brown's services?
Buffalo, New England.
Buffalo and New England, but if New England's interested in Mike Evans, then they're not going to get Evans and A.J. Brown.
Any
so
team would want A.J. Oakland.
Maybe Miami. Since they lost Tyreek Hill.
Kansas City. I mean, every team,
a new quarterback.
All 31 other teams should be interested.
Probably the Raiders, the Titans, maybe get him back and get Cam Ward, a true number one wide receiver. Let's see who else. Maybe the Texans, because the Texans always have what seems to be wide receiver depth issues with the fact that everyone gets hurt.
Everyone's hurt, yeah.
Tank Dell missed an entire 2 seasons now. Higgins was out a couple of weeks last year. Yeah, Collins has been out, so
it's all about exploring the draft and what opportunities you can make. Because then, say if they're able to re-sign Dallas Goedert, and they maybe can use that first round pick on a wide receiver, or if they re-sign Goedert and Blankenship, they can use first round pick on a receiver. But if they lose out on Goddard but sign Blankenship, you get a tight end in the first round or the second round, and then a wide receiver in either or.
Yeah. And the thing that also matters is the timing. So if he's traded before June 1st, then the Eagles will carry a $43.5 million cap hit.
which I'm sure they don't want to do that.
But if he's traded after June 1st, it reduces that cap hit from $43.5 million to $16.3.
So I have a feeling that there might not be a trade on draft night, but there could be a trade in the summer.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to lean towards as well, where maybe they don't trade him up until after that June 1st designation. Because
of the cap hit.
Do you really want to carry a $43.5 million cap hit into the season? Probably not. And it's not like probably his... I don't think that you will lose value by waiting up until after June 1st, will you? That's the thing. Will the Eagles lose value?
It depends in what they get back. In draft capital.
Yeah,
because the draft will be long over by then.
Right.
You're going to be getting a 2027 pick. We don't know what that 2027 pick's going to be.
Would that make it 2 picks instead of 1 pick?
Yeah, that's exactly. I don't know.
How does that change the trade?
It's a mix and match.
So that's going to be something that is really probably crucial to whatever the decision-making process is of Howie Roseman. And I would be very surprised if they were to trade him before June 1st, unless they get some type of incredible offer that they can't say no to. If someone offers them 2 first-round picks, doesn't matter what time of the year it is, you have to take that.
If it's the 26 and the 27 first, I mean, you got to take it.
If someone's going to offer you 2 first-round picks, then you make that trade immediately. You don't wait up until after June 1st for them to maybe potentially have cold feet and no longer want to do the trade.
Yep.
You got to jump on that. So that's going to be interesting to see, and honestly, I wouldn't expect a trade before June 1st. Would you expect a trade before June 1st?
Probably not, unless they see what the offers are getting.
Yeah.
Like what you said, the 2 draft picks, or a player like Crosby and a pick.
Yeah, or like Crosby and a first. Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
Crosby and a 2027
That would
first.
be so stupid for the Raiders. That would be so stupid. And what if the Raiders finish with like a 4-13 record? The Eagles just get a free top 5 pick. That would be the fleece of the freaking century by Howie Roseman.
Draft another guy that's like Jalen Carter.
Yep. That would be the fucking steal of the century for the Eagles.
I know. But, I mean, hey, think about it. You could do that. You could let Jordan Davis walk. You could replace him with some first-round pick. But
I mean, that's what the Bears did. They traded for, what was it, DJ Moore, and they got a first pick out of it.
They got a first-round pick out of it.
And that pick turned into number 1 overall.
Yeah, which ended up being Caleb Williams.
So, it's always possible.
Crazy things happen, man.
It's always possible.
But there are some mock trades, and let me see. I want to see what you would think about this type of trade, right? Cleveland Browns.
All right.
Would get A.J. Brown. Eagles would get 2026 third-round pick and Myles Garrett.
Oh, you got to do that. You got to take Myles Garrett.
Would you do that?
Yeah, I would do that for Myles Garrett.
The massive amount of money that Garrett is now making.
Dude,
on his
Garrett
contract.
can get you 20 sacks a season. Defensive Player of the Year.
I also take that.
You have to take that trade. The Browns want 3 first-round picks, and you're going to trade no picks for him. And Shedeur Sanders sucks.
Oh yeah, Shedeur Sanders is not going to be the quarterback in the future, probably.
No, he sucks. So he's just going to be with the worst quarterback, and we're going to have the reigning Defensive Player of the Year on our team. I'm taking that. Fuck.
All right. How about this? Steelers get A.J. Brown.
Okay.
Eagles get DK Metcalf. Probably on the set
That's
on the franchise tag.
No.
He says no to DK Metcalf, just to straight up. What would you need? What would need to?
They would have
to be added?
They would have to throw in a pick.
What round are you thinking?
I don't know if it would be third. It wouldn't be maybe 4th or 5th or a third.
As we said, the Max Crosby one.
Yep.
The 3rd round pick and Max Crosby for AJ Brown. Think we would both take that. Titans. 1st round pick this year. 2nd round pick next year. AJ Brown. No players.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What's the Titans pick?
think they have like a top 4 or top 5 pick. They only won like 4 games?
Yeah,
5 games
they won
last year?
I think 6 or 7 games. So they have
so
they have the 4th pick.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Would you do that?
I would do that. Yeah.
I think I would do that too.
You get the 4th overall pick in the draft.
You get the 4th and a 2nd next year.
Yeah. That's
for AJ Brown. I think I would do that.
I would do that, yeah.
I would do that.
Okay, so we're both in agreement with the Titans.
Yep. And the last one that's listed in this specific article. Patriots would get AJ Brown. Eagles would get 3rd round pick. Christian Gonzalez.
From the Patriots?
Yep.
That's a cornerback, right?
Yep.
Damn.
Would you do that?
Yeah, I would do that.
I think that's a very interesting
Christian
one.
Gonzalez is an all-pro cornerback.
Yes, he is. And he is fantastic.
You have 3 all-pro cornerbacks on your team.
But do you need another cornerback? Do you need another?
Well, who else are you going to have besides? Who's going to be the guy that's going to fill in for you? Because that spot was Jackson's.
I was going to say, would you potentially then move Cooper to safety?
You're going to have, or you could, I don't know.
Cooper Jean to safety to replace Reed Blankenship.
You could do that, or you could do.
Because I think that's a really interesting proposal right there. Christian Gonzalez could open up a lot of things for this defense.
I would take Christian Gonzalez.
And the 3rd round pick for AJ Brown, I think I would too.
Mm-hmm.
But those were the 5 trades.
You don't have to waste a draft pick on a defensive back.
Nope. You could then use your probably first 3 picks that you have in the first 2 rounds, all on the offensive side.
Yep.
One to get a tight end, one to get a lineman, and another to get replacement wide receiver if you really need it. So honestly, I think that one would probably be the best one for the Eagles. Would be Christian Gonzalez in a 3rd.
Yeah,
even over Max Crosby.
There's some good mock trades, yeah, because he's young too.
Yeah, Christian Gonzalez is only I think 24.
So you're getting a guy
25?
that's on a young contract.
But that
Howie Roseman.
That is another guy you'd have to pay though.
Yeah,
later in like 2 years. So,
but maybe you could get him on a cheap. You could get him on like a cheap thing instead of having to pay Crosby. It's like 30 to 40 million.
Right. But I think that either the Raiders trade, the Titans trade that was proposed there, or the Patriots trade would be all A-OKs for me in my book. But I still don't know about just the straight up DK for AJ Brown.
I'm not going to be able to get that DK for.
I would only take that if
Brown.
You know that DK is going to be here for the next 4 to 5 years after that. You know, if there's no guarantee that that's going to happen, then I would have to say no. But
if he doesn't go beat up a fan in the crowd,
dude, if you could pair him and Devontae Smith, that would be
a good duo. Yeah,
1 and 2.
He just can't go up beating fans in the crowd, which is another thing.
I mean, he might end up beating up Nick Sirianni potentially on the side.
Yeah, just what we need, an AJ Brown 2.0.
So maybe I actually wouldn't take that one. But I don't know. I would have to think about that one more.
Oh, goodness.
But
all right.
Any trades that you've seen or anything?
No, that was the ones you told me so far.
Yeah.
So, all right, then. You know, hopefully we have a word on more word on AJ by next Saturday. And hopefully we see how our guys do in the WBC.
Yeah.
So
that will have started, I believe, by the time we record next,
it should have started, yeah.
It'll be like 2 days into it,
yeah,
I think
so. All right. Well, we will see you next Saturday.